สวัสดีค่ะ Pasharia Brandnow.asia. Welcome to this episode of Business Insights by Brandnow.asia. With me today is Miss Jenn Weidman. She and I are part of We Can, which is a Canadian chamber program for women in entrepreneurship. And Jenn did such a fantastic job facilitating the first session. Then I discovered actually that's her full-time job. She is a facilitator. So, and her focus is on resilience. So I wanted to bring her on board today to talk about that. So Jenn, can you introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me, by the way. I'm the CEO and founder of Space Bangkok. So we help people addressing the biggest problems do their best work through facilitation, training, resilience, and peace building.
All right. So how long have you had the company now?
I've had the company about 4 years now, but have been doing the work a lot longer than that.
And how long is long?
A lot longer.
So tell me, were you born and raised in Thailand?
No.
Okay,
No.
where do you hail from?
Originally, I grew up in the US, and I came to Thailand as an exchange student in high school, and I was in Bangkok, the town, the province.
Not next to Jadajat.
Not next to Jadajat.
Okay,
Yeah.
so wow, Kampang Phet.
Yes.
A world's way, right? From Pennsylvania.
Yes.
All right. So what inspired you to become a facilitator?
Yeah, life takes you in really interesting directions. So I had some other work experience in bringing groups together, being the cultural bridge between different groups and doing things. And when I started to work for the Rotary Peace Center at Chulalongkorn University, I really saw how powerful facilitation was. And I really got to learn from some people who are excellent at it and then practice it myself and make it my own. And it came together with some passions and some things that I was concerned about and wanted to bring and wanted to make sure we have skills development and how we can do things better in the world. And I realized that I could do that through facilitation.
Okay, so it sounds like it was very inspiring work that you did over at Chula. And how come you decided to focus on resilience?
Yeah, so part of that's my personal journey and part of that's, well, I guess it's all my personal journey, right? So I have my own experience with burnout. I have experience with harassment in the workplace. I have those experiences in my past. And as part of my job, so the Rotary Peace Center at Chulalongkorn University, we would run capacity building programs for people working in peace, conflict resolution, human rights, humanitarian aid development, those kinds of things. And part of my job was what we call accompaniment. So walking alongside people on their growth journey, whether that's upskilling, finding new ways to do what they do better. For many people, I found it was dealing with the psychological impacts of the work they were doing. And I saw very clearly that the humanitarian aid industry itself, and then as I looked beyond, many other industries and many other ways we work are actually not designed to look after the well-being of the people working in them. They're actually designed in such a way that results in the destruction of the people working in them. And I just don't think we need to harm part of humanity to help other parts of humanity or achieve our goals for our organization and our work. And so when it was time for the next step, I thought, yeah, I need to come out and work in that, bring new ways to do things so that we can be effective, have impact, achieve our goals, but also have well-being for ourselves, for our staff, for our teams, to do what we do longer and better.
Yeah, we were talking about workers, you call them peace builders, who go to war-torn countries, and sometimes they come back with post-traumatic stress syndrome. And what's the cost of that?
It's huge. And this is the thing that people don't talk about. You think, oh, this person just got tired or something, they got sick, so they had to leave. But you don't realize that there's the cost of replacing someone, and there's different values of that. I read one on, it was a year and a half of the person's salary to fully replace them from when they leave to when you get the new person up. There's the institutional memory, there's the skills, there's the relationships. So much of work we do is about relationships. Who do you call? Who do you know? How to reach out to for support. You lose all of that. And then you lose team dynamic, you lose momentum, you lose, people are running extra hard while you're trying to replace somebody. You may have to shortchange projects or do things differently or not get what you used to get done completed because you're missing people, right? Yeah. So the cost of losing people, and then also the cost of that person. So along the way, that person may have had serious damage done to their own personal life, their family life. Some people go away, they can recover, some people can't, and we're losing actual people. There's a human cost to that as well.
Yeah, you gave me a case study earlier when we were having a discussion, a case study about how you're helping an organization, an international organization, where there was this non-alignment, I guess, if you will, like a conflict between the local and the international. Could you share a little bit more about that? And you've been working with them for a few years.
Yeah, so there's one team, and they have their own, they're one team of a global organization, and the teams function a bit independently. This particular team is international also. And we've been working with them for about 3 to 4 years. And when we started working with them, you could immediately tell it was about strategic planning. We started helping them with their strategic planning, and we could immediately tell there were some issues there. We started to have more conversations, and then entered into the full engagement we have now. So there's coaching. We do coaching, executive coaching of the head of the office. So we work every year with strategic planning, and then operationalization of the plan, and then also team building and teamwork, organizational culture, work culture. And it could be anything from building communications, building relationships, to what are the pressure points, the frustration points in the office? How can we fix them? How can we be more efficient and effective in what we're doing? And when we first met them, I would say it was a mess in certain ways. They were limping along, but not well.
Okay.
And they have a lot of work to do. They have some very ambitious targets that they're trying to meet, and they have a lot of challenges that randomly seem to always come their way. Now, if you go and you see that team, they are buzzing along. They have overcome amazing challenges, and they're doing things they never thought that were possible, and they're achieving their targets, and they have a trajectory and a projection that's very encouraging, and they're able to do it all in a way that they're still there. It's the same staff. They're adding staff. The people aren't really leaving. I mean, they've come together and they've really been able to buzz along and do well.
And be effective and efficient at what they're doing. That sounds great. So let's bring us back to the reality of today, right? Which is we're in the midst of a pandemic, and that's part of the reason why I invited Jenn to come on to this Business Insight show. Business owners are, in that time period now where they're needing to be resilient. So let's talk about that. What are leaders of organizations, business owners, entrepreneurs need to do at this time to be resilient?
That's our question, right? That's the question we all ask us every morning and every night we ask ourselves. For me, I think it's in sort of 3 buckets. The first one is whatever you're going to do around this. It's about clarity, right? Clarity is kindness. We need to be clear. This is the changes that are happening. This is how we're addressing it. This is a mitigation. These are our plans. These are our priorities. We're going to remain flexible to respond to the ongoing, developing situation. What is that? And be very clear about it and be very open with it, because that takes out that level of uncertainty or instability. People are afraid. Nobody really wants to go to work or do anything if they're afraid for their future.
Right. They're
going to be trying to figure out how they can make their own self stable, and they're not going to be worrying about the company they work for, the organization they work for, and that being stable. So if you want the team to come together, that's number one. And then we as leaders, you can't make anyone be resilient, and you certainly can't lead resilience unless you're practicing yourself. So you need to find your own thing, and resilience is about, in many ways, we're talking about personal resilience, right? So it's in many ways it's about feeding that spark of energy and creativity inside yourself. We talk about innovation all the time. We want to be innovative. How are you going to have the creative energy to think about that if you're not feeding it regularly? You can't just decide, today is the day, we'll have a creative thought. It doesn't work like that. So finding the things that feed you, making the time to prioritize yourself, that's the only way that you can give to other people, is if you also are recharging your own batteries, right? So finding that and doing it for yourself. And then the third one is encouraging that in your team. So you can create the space and opportunity in the place, you can encourage it, and then you give your team the resources. You can't make anyone do it. You know, they say you can lead the horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So there's that, which we do know, but there are many resources around that can be helpful, right? So our organization itself, we have easy Saturday events. We have one coming up 21st of March. So we just come a couple hours, be more intentional about recharging yourself over the weekend, as opposed to, the weekend's here and then Monday comes and you're more tired. That's not helpful. So being more intentional, sort of exploring and building the activities or the things or the ways that you recharge that builds your resilience. And then we have longer retreats also. We also work with teams and organizations. But yeah, so I think it's setting the overall, doing it yourself, and then creating the space, modeling, and then creating the space and making sure you're encouraging people to do it. Not just saying, oh, go ahead everybody, try something, maybe you should do yoga. Okay, there's nothing wrong with yoga. Different things work for different people, and it's not about just go join a gym. It's about a life practice, and it's about knowing how those activities interact with yourself and how it recharges you.
Yeah, we were talking about that, like for some people it's about meditation, for some people is exercise, and maybe for another person is I'm gonna do cooking, or I'm just gonna zone out and do sewing, or just wash the dishes and not think about anything, or it's a Netflix night and I'm just gonna completely tune out and give my brain a break or something like that, right? All right, so any last words for the business leaders of Bangkok and those watching globally?
Lots. But I think before we get to the last words, I think there's something to think about for the practice itself, for what resilience is. And I think many people know about self-care. We all hear about self-care. And many of the things you just mentioned, people are like, oh yeah, you're talking about self-care, right? But actually, we like to think of it as a spectrum, right? So if self-care is here, this is the emergency room. First aid. I'm bleeding, I need a Band-Aid. I had a bad day, what do I do? You know, what is that thing I do? I feel better. But then after a while you go to the emergency room, you put on the Band-Aid, it doesn't work. There's something more, because there's an underlying situation going on. So over here on the other side is reflective practice. So it's the things that you do, the way you live your life, that continually refuels so that you don't have to go to the emergency room as much, right? So you have a more stable and higher level of well-being the whole way. And this whole spectrum, as you said, is different for everyone. And yes, for some people it's washing dishes. Not me, but that's okay.
What is it for you?
Oh, I have many things.
That you're not allowed to talk about right now.
Sure I can.
Tell me one.
Well, let's see. Gardening is a big one for me. The process of planting and growing and looking after something and the cycle, I think. Movement is also a big one for me. Martial arts and these kinds of things are big for me. They help me a lot. And I love cooking.
Yes. My husband loves to cook. That's how he kind of like zones out, and that's his creative time. You know, testing and trying. He always likes to, here, have some of this. Sometimes it's good, sometimes we just smile.
It's the process that counts. And that's the other thing. We don't do things because we think we're going to be bad at creative things, right? Like art or music or cooking.
But for the most part, his cooking
We're not running
is quite
a restaurant.
Good.
It's okay.
It's just for the family, for fun. That's true. Okay, so I want to get back to the last question. What's the last word, last tip that you have for the business leaders in Bangkok as well as those watching globally?
I think this is the moment where we're all going to find out who we really are. We're testing ourselves now. And it's not, we all have been talking about innovation all this time and flexibility, adaptability to the market. Agile.
Yes.
Can we actually do it? And this is the moment where we'll find that out. And so I think it's been, never a time has it been more important to be looking after your own resilience and the resilience of your team so that you can do all those things, be agile, be innovative, be flexible, be adaptable. Because that's the only way that you will be able to come together and pull together for whatever the new reality of your situation will be. I think we may see a lot of groups fall apart. And it may have nothing to do with the market. It may be all about attitude and perceptions and dynamic and how do we feel about this place we're working. And then we may see some groups come together and make some amazing advances and steps forward because they're actually taking the time to step back, reflect, look inside internally, both individually and in their organization. And think about, okay, how do we make sure we're okay? How do we make sure the organization, the company's okay? And where can we go? What are the new things we can do? So I think it's our challenge now. To do that.
It is. I'm cooking up a lot of new stuff.
Me too.
speaking of cooking. So, funny enough, my husband's been watching the Netflix Breaking Bad, but the cooking there is about, drugs.
Something a little different.
But no, yeah, it's not the kind of stuff. I'm just cooking up new products. So, when the market is ready, that we have something new and interesting to offer and share. All right, so how do we reach out to you for those who wants to get in contact?
So we have our website, it's www.space-bangkok.com, and we're also on social media, Space BKK.
All right, so for those of you who wants to get in contact with Jenn, please do so on her website or on her Facebook. Thanks so much for today.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right, sawadee ka.
If we may be of service to you or someone you know, please reach out to us. Thank you and have a great day.